Shalom to all the Jews and Gentiles alike, sending a strong Shalom to the children of lights. Namaste to all. You already know what the deal is. We can give all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High, our power, to El Elyon, the Great Spirit, the All Parents, the Divine Mind, down in our Father Universe, Yahuwah Sabayot, Anu Kased, Wakanda, Hoa, Yahadonai. Acknowledgement to our earthly mother, and acknowledgement to our elder brother, Yahushua, Hamashiach, Yahushai, Isa, Matzah the Lamb, Yesiah, the Messiah, Yahusha, the Lion from the tribe of Yehuda, Ayatsue, the one the world calls Jesus Christ. So today, brethren and sistren, we're going to be talking about the Logos, the higher divine thoughts. We had made this video a while back, but YouTube, they had taken down the lesson. I was like, yo, why y'all taking down lessons now? Like, what's going on here? You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, you know what? Let's go ahead and do it again, okay? With a few new precepts, you know, spicing it up a bit. All right, so we talking about the Logos, the higher divine thought field. Okay, let me just put the Logos at the top here. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to hop right in to the 6 light picture superscript. Thou shall be the word. Alrighty. And we're going to go to, what was it, page 139, verse 569. The first aspect of awakening to the Logos is to become open to the divine fellowship, where you will meet the heavenly hierarchy of the heavenly family who will connect directly with you first through thought waves sent out to each initiate who, when ready, is merged with the anointed Christ/Spirit. With higher states of conscious awareness come the goals of conscious unity with the cosmic brotherhoods and sisterhoods. So what we gotta understand, overstand, and understand is that man is not an island to himself. Okay, we got gods, we got whole light beings in our midst, we got ancestors. Okay, they around you, but obviously you can't see them. Okay, there's no such thing as, oh well, I'm alone and ain't nobody with. Nah. That ain't true. That ain't true. So the first, you know what? Let's say, so the first aspect of the Logos. Let's put. Make sure I'm not. Let's put divine fellowship. Okay. Make it nice and big so y'all can see it. Divine fellowship. Divine fellowship. All right, so let's go to the 9th light picture superscript for a precept, of course. Thou shalt be the communion. Okay. We're going to go to page 37. This is verse 86. At the beginning, the image and similitude, okay, the image and the likeness were sustained by the living light of the divine with infinite numerical combinations. Moreover, the same image and similitude is still present as the key to our direct reconnection back to the divine. Thus, just as whole realms are created through the Deca-Delta system. Okay, we talked about the Deca-Delta system last lesson. Okay, I also saw how the vibrations translate the higher codes into the image forms while maintaining a divine linkage in thought, which is a key aspect of the similitude or likeness with the Godhead. Enoch showed me that the key to beginning our conscious reconnection back to God or the Godhead is through our image and similitude. As we discover, we also have a unique family of being that exists beyond this third dimensional world of form. That is because our family also exists in the heavens, and we are emanations of their reality here on planet Earth. We can make the reconnection through our similitude. So we are not a simple 3 or 4 dimensional reality, but a multi-dimensional experience existing between nature and super nature. Okay? So again, we got a family on the other side of the veil. All right? You watch Captain Planet. Okay, you see how they all come together in unity, and you see how Captain Planet, he come in, he saved the earth, right? Then you got Power Rangers, right? When they all come together, Transformers. You see, it's funny because all these cartoons, they all telling you what's going on, man, right? It's that divine fellowship, right? It's that unity. It's not about the I. It's not about the self. It's not about, I'm gonna get my bag and you gonna get yours. I'm gonna get this Tesla and you're gonna try to get your Tesla. Nah, this is not what this is about. This is not what this is about. Okay? This is not what this is about. Let's skip to 184. 184, hold on. Lost my spot. All right, let's go to verse 184. Knowing that anytime we can be in communion with the Godhead, if we so choose, by the restructuring of our thought forms of limitation. We should wonder why we have blocked this state of true unity within our being. For us, it begins by an exchange of spiritual thinking, mindfulness, and delving deeper into the divine realm or realms of consciousness awareness. Now let's go to the 5th light picture superscript. Thou shalt be the family. And we're going to go to verse 94 on page 41. '93 actually. As our first image was the heavenly image, the Adam Kadmon that transferred to earth, we can again display the human-God partnership when our thought forms shift to higher thought form realities. As part of the Adam Kadmon, we initially work with hierarchical topologies of the consciousness of light as revealed through the family of light. But we have lost that ability. Nevertheless, the local realms of consciousness are eternally receiving thought form information, which interacts within our brain. We can perceive not only the local socio-environmental reality, but also higher consciousness inputs. Skip forward to 115. Moreover, as part of a greater family of light, our Adamic code allows for a higher spiritual activation that leads us back into direct participation with our spiritual family connected with the Adam Kadmon. Let's go down to 125. Thus begins our expanded human spiritual family and the key to our initiation back to the light and into a multiplicity of life possibilities beyond the shadow of this womb man nature. In finding the heartbeat of our divine family, we experience life within the universal song of the living God. Now let's go to the 10th light picture superscript. Thou shalt be the covenant. we're going to go to 218. In fact, we have an inner telethought communication system built into our brains. It gives us with a greater alignment to connect with our over self body, which in turn is aligned within the greater holarchies / hierarchy systems and the divine families. Now let's go back to the 5th superscript. We're going to go to 180. Let's go to 181. This works because our trifold human brain is really a neural receiver of higher consciousness processing, as we are part of a greater non-local biotransducer subsystem, yet having free will. (182) Therefore, we are not biocomputers exclusively, because free will allows us to choose higher thought forms or dwell within the local conscious field that exists around us and the planet. Although we can link to a higher divine consciousness, we as biotransducers generally have only limited signals, mainly focusing our thoughts on this local life space and not throughout the greater heavens. This is why the majority of our brain power is unused. Let's say that blue one again. No, let's go back in the green. Mainly focusing our thoughts on this local life space, right? Meaning that you focus on things. You're focused on things within this third dimensional realm. You focus on the carnal things. You focus on the things within the lower heavens. Mainly focusing our thoughts on this local life space and not throughout the greater heavens. This is why the majority of our brain power is unused, right? So what do we say all the time? Consciousness is everything. Consciousness is the overriding factor of life. Okay? Now let's go back to 170. Most importantly, we are part of a greater family of light, processing high degrees of thought abilities that can work with complex groupings and multidimensional information, because we are still operating with an energy body that exists on various planes of being. Let's skip forward to 229 or 229 on page 71. This is who we are, the family of light, not only as an inheritance, but as a current reality. This is verse 610. In a sense, the local heavens and the earth are now awaiting the return of the prodigal son, but he will return with his family. This will reveal how the collective family moves us away from the individual I to the shared we through the spirit of the divine mind. What did we say earlier? It's not about the I, it's the we. You know what I'm saying? Think of Captain Planet again. It's the we, right? It's the divine will. It's not the self will. It's not, oh, I'm finna go get this bag. You gonna get your bag, right? And we gonna become successful. Nah, this is not what this is about. This is not what this is about. Now, let's go back to the 6 light picture superscripts. 575 in the 6 superscripts. Second, in our state of awakening to the Logos, we need to reach into our inner mind and seek to disempower consciousness negativity. Okay, pay attention here, because a lot of people, they go through this. Okay, this can be accomplished as we triumph over the lower negative thoughts of local consciousness regarding ourselves, others, and the planet and the cosmos. The first aspect of reaching out for the divine fellowship is important, yet the second aspect is equally as important, as we must move beyond the limitations we impose upon ourselves and on others to see the power of collective unity. This leads us to sharing with the divine family. That is also why Yahawashai, Ayutsuwe, why Jesus focused on the two great commandments, to love God and our fellow man. Okay, so the second, where my marker at? My marker was all the way over here. What's it doing over here? What's it doing over here? Okay, the second, let's just put negative thoughts. Okay, so triumphing, let's put that there. And number 2, let's just put negative thinking. Okay. Oh no, I ain't gonna pay my Tesla. I can't pay this. I can't pay that. Oh my gosh, look what they did and this and that and the third. No. Okay. So we're gonna go into. Been a while since I whipped this one out. We're gonna go into the Egyptian Book of the Dead. So this is page 262 if you got this book. Chapter 25. Making the transformation into Ptah. Go to verse 2. Evil doubly it is. Detestable. I do not eat excrement. I do not eat it. It is abominable to my ka. It does not go into my body. I live in accordance with the knowledge of the gods and the goddesses and the glorious spirit beings. I live and empowered through their bread. Powerful am I by eating it. Under the hair, within Hetheru, my lady, I make a great offering. I make bread in the city of Dedu and oblations in the city of Anu. Okay, now let's get the commentary. All right. This verse continues an important symbol in Kemetic philosophy, which was introduced in chapter 4. Verse 10 relating to excrement. Excrement is used to symbolize everything that is detestable in life. Most people, due to their own ignorance, are forced to eat excrement in life in various ways. Whenever a person has to do something they would rather not do, this is eating excrement. Whenever a person cannot achieve their desires, this is eating excrement. Whenever a person is disappointed or frustrated in any way, this is eating excrement. Since ordinary human beings live their lives based on egoistic notions, desires, and expectations, they are constantly stressed because they are constantly frustrated about something they desire. Getting away from something they dislike or in fear over something they achieved that they do not want to lose. Life is always unpredictable. Therefore, whatever one achieves is bound to be lost, if not due to theft or damage, then due to deterioration from normal wear and tear. Also, there is no guarantee that whatever one desires will be attained, and ultimately all is left behind at the time of death. This is because the world is illusory and changeable. Thus, it is illogical to expect anything from the world, and yet people run after the world, pursuing objects and illusory goals with great zeal. Right? Gotta get that Tesla. Gotta get this bag. Oh my God, we gotta get this, gotta get that. And then when you don't get these things, right, what ends up happening? What ends up happening? That negative thinking starts to come in. Okay? So the second aspect of the logos is what? Triumphing over that negative thinking. Okay? Let's continue. Back into the Egyptian Book of the Dead. There is another aspect of excrement that is seldom discussed or understood. The real purpose of excrement in life is to remind us that the world is not all comfort and pleasure. From the perspective of the ego, there are some things that are liked and others which are disliked. But those things that occur against the ego's desire are in reality the chipping away processes of the goddess Mayat. She sends adversity and frustration to everyone in accordance with their previous actions. It is not meant to evoke frustration, anxiety, or fear, but to cut the ego down to size. For it is impossible to have everything the way the ego wants it in the world. If the disappointments and frustrations are accepted and understood as reminders of the illusory nature of the world, then the disappointments will turn into real disillusionments. If this process moves on further, nurtured by sustained spiritual instruction, then the disillusionment turns into spiritual enlightenment. Disappointment is when you fail at acquiring your ego's desire, but still continue trying, even though the effort is a struggle and leads to further entanglements and suffering. This is the predicament of the masses that are uninitiated into the teachings. They are caught up in ignorance. Disillusionment is when you understand that even if you were to achieve the object of desire, it will not bring you the abiding happiness you are looking for. So you give up on your futile desires and place your energies in more worthy areas, such as the spiritual practices. This is the path leading towards spiritual enlightenment. Therefore, an aspirant should develop the sensitivity to hear the messages that the goddess is sending through other people's actions, as well as disappointments, annoyances, nuisances, aggravations, provocations, fiascos, mistakes, misunderstandings, and irritations of life. If this is done, the world will be viewed as a help rather than a hindrance to spiritual enlightenment. Because at every turn, there's a disappointment waiting for you. Most people try to overlook these troubles of life. They look for the pot of gold at the end of the illusory rainbow of life, which can never be found. And therefore, they suffer while convincing themselves that this is how life is. You win some and you lose some. In fact, there is no winning in the game of life when the ego is playing. Okay? So that'd be enough of the Egyptian Book of the Dead there. Let's go back to the 6 light picture superscripts. And this is going to be verse 589. We're on the third one. Third, in our state of awakening to the Logos, is our realization that this is the time to prepare for higher consciousness awakening. This is the time when our local heavens are opening and we are awakening to the geometries of the living word within our mind's eye. Okay? This is the time to experience the higher consciousness that we have prepared for. Now it is up to us to open to new realities as the higher heavens reach down to us. So you got all these higher energies coming in, right, into the earth right now. So now's the time to lock in. Okay, you ain't got time to be dilly-dallying, going to the club, getting drunk, trying to fornicate, trying to do this, trying to do that. Nah, ain't got no time for all that. Okay? So now, the third aspect into awakening to the Logos. All right, let's just put now is the time. Okay? Now is the time to prepare for the higher consciousness awakening. Okay? And we're about to show y'all what the dealio is. Okay? Because ain't got time to be dilly-dallying. Alright? Let's go to the keys. The book of knowledge. Alright? The keys. Going back in the keys. Alright? If you don't got you a key, go get you a key on keysofunited.org. Okay? Let's go to page 169. Let's go to verse 7. Alright? This is key 118. There is presently occurring a space-time overlap with the higher evolution as the Earth's solar system enters an electromagnetic null zone, a vacuum area in space, which will change the magnetic forces of creation. The change of the electromagnetic density in the Earth's atmosphere will activate some species to become more violent and other species more Christ-like, as man is pulled either into an upward spiral of light or negated by the breakdown of the old electromagnetic frequency. This will bring about a complete reorganization of the Earth's life system as the human creation begins to operate with a new magnetic and electromagnetic creative power. Okay, this is why now is the time. Now is the time to get your house in order. Now it's time to get your spiritual house in order. Ain't got no time to be out here dilly-dallying and playing no games. Okay? All right. Let's skip to 17, verse 17. Before the new story of creation happens, the earth will go through gross, geomagnetic, and catastrophic changes as the magnetic regions of the North and South Pole release their torque, spinning the shell of the earth into the new program of existence. During the completion of cycles of star progression, our entire solar system will enter into a vacuum in space where no electromagnetic fields exist. This is called an electromagnetic null zone. At that time, cosmic waves will enter the polar areas of our Earth and penetrate to the very core of our globe. These waves will not only release some 48.6 times 10 to the 15 power ton-miles of torque on the Earth, but will trigger unseen wave properties from the core of the Earth, placing catastrophic stress on the shell of the Earth and spinning the mantle of the Earth. Okay, so this is why, again, all these higher energies are coming into the Earth right now. Okay, so why the ice caps is melting. Okay, solar flare is going crazy, right? But we're going to see later how consciousness also affects this as well. But let's not get to that just yet. But that's what's going on right now. That's what's going on right now. So that's why now is the time. Let's go to key 204. Key 204, verse 10. We must understand how the larger life force of local universes collectively forms both part of the eternal mind and part of our galactic network, which issues for the biological programs bringing alpha and omega together. When the alpha omega cycle is completed, right, because we live in a alpha omega program, right, meaning that there's a beginning and there's an end. When the alpha omega cycle is completed, the magnetic fields shift, causing genetic information to be adapted to a new biotechnology of light. The magnetic fields create neutral zones for the interfacing of high-speed molecules which control growth and development in all living things. We are going into a different membrane program at this time. This new program requires that the genetics of higher man function on a higher wavelength of light. In order to accomplish this, the Brotherhood of Lights is accelerating the entire system of human biorhythms to enter a less dense spectrum of matter energy. The Brotherhood of Light is changing the electromagnetic density so that the electrification of matter prepares higher man for the doming of his over-self body. We are going directly into a new star threshold with a new magnetic vibration, which is changing the whole nuclear membrane on this planet. Let's go to key 209. Key 209. Let's go to key 209. Okay? And a lot of people, they like to say, oh, well, AI gonna take over and AI gonna do this, AI gonna do that. I mean, AI is not gonna be here when we go through the electromagnetic null zone, right? Because what is AI based off of? Electromagnetic energy, right? So when we go into electromagnetic null zone, what's gonna happen? The AI gonna be null and void. There ain't gonna be no AI. AI ain't gonna take over. No, no. Let's go to key 209. Key 209, verse 12. Verse 12, page 256. Now, at the end of this cycle, we are seeing the second Adamic man being made through the visitations of the Lords of Light, or the higher intelligence, which reprograms him because he has lost his conceptual apparatus of telethought communication. Since he has lost the ability to reconcile multi-dimensional levels of conscious programming, the Elohim factor takes over and programs the survival mechanisms in the second Adamic man identity patterns so that he can go back into the life form of the Adam Kadmon, the primordial body of light. We not done yet. We are not done yet. Let's go to key 304, verse 2. Let's go to verse 2, page 379. A new source of light is now reaching our solar system and interpenetrating Earth's magnetic fields, altering the biological rhythms. This is forcing the species to leave behind its old time cell of perception on the physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual levels. This must take place before the species can go into a new time cell of consciousness with a unified perception. Let's skip to 51. All right, now this one's important here. This one's important here. It's on page 383. This is key 304. Our planet is no different than any form of life that must renew itself. It is like an energy molecule going through renewal and being restored to a new existence. We must understand that the geomagnetic reversals and the changing of the electromagnetic density are necessary parts of the recycling of human biochemical processes. As humanity passes into a new body of light in all of these fundamental changes, however, we must understand that there is no fixed time scale in these changes from the standpoint of a singular relativity. The time factor is determined by a sliding criteria of events on a galactic and planetary scale matched with the spiritual activity of a sun universe, directing the blueprint of casual fertility. Pause. So this is why physical destruction is facilitated by spiritual energy, which is consciousness. Okay? Because everything in this realm is conscious, and consciousness can be further influenced by consciousness. Okay? So, this is how the human mind is able to manipulate physical matter. It's all consciousness. Everything in this realm is consciousness. This is important. Let's go back. Verse 53. Between the periodical timescales of cosmic renewal, man emerges on the scene as an intelligence which survives by being a part of the Father's plan of ongoing soul creation. Is man thus to await the total destruction of the planet? God forbid. What the Father has ordained, he beckons into renewed creation through the return of the masters who will set their feet upon the planet in order to assist man in the work of recreation. So when we see these crazy earthquakes, okay, these hurricanes, these volcanoes going off, right? That's consciousness going on right there, right? That's consciousness. We basically doing it. We're basically doing all of it. As we increase in consciousness, all these things start to go off. Earthquake pop off. 7.1 magnitude over here, right? 8.1 magnitude. One went off in Japan. I think it was one that happened in in South America, right? Somewhere around there, right? We are doing these things because as we increase, earthquake go off, volcano go off, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? It's all consciousness. Let's go back to key 211. Let's go to verse 6. This original scroll, the weights and measures, speaking on the keys, recorded by Enoch, was used for programming previous cycles of intelligence, but it was lost to the knowledge of man after the energies of spiritual destruction inhabited and controlled the earth, desiring to use spiritual truths with their technology of death. When the abominations of the earth spread throughout the nations, the original scroll was returned to the Father to be reissued at the end of this conscious time cycle, when the remnant Adamic race would put on the body of the Adam Kadmon. Now is the time for the weights and measures to return. Now is the time. Now is the time. And I don't know what to tell you. All I gotta say is this. Now is the time. Okay? Spirit to me with a precept, so we about to get another one. Hold on. Let's go into. Hold up. Hold on. Let's go into the 7th light picture superscript. Thou shalt be the witness. Okay? Let's go to 558. I have worked with Faraday cages that have been designed to block magnetic fields, and it was clear that reducing the magnetic fields of the earth from our environment can enhance the consciousness field in the body. So the weakened field of the planet can also increase the flow of higher thoughts coming to the earth. Many of us are now aware of this magnetic change taking place on planet Earth as the fields begin to weaken and shift, augmenting our conscious mind reach abilities. All right, so yeah, the Earth magnetic field actually is in fact weakening. And as it weakens, that higher energy, that higher consciousness light that's coming from on high is coming into our Earth. All right, so now is the time. Now is the time. Now is the time to tap in, okay? So, let's go back to the 6th light picture superscript. All right. Now we're on the 4th. The 4th aspect, or the 4th state. All right, 595. 4th in our state of awakening to the Logos is the use of the divine names and sacred expressions in our prayers, meditations, and fellowship gatherings of teachings. All right, so let's say for the 4th one, hold on real quick. So for the 4th one, 596, using sacred expressions establishes bridges between people and cultures, bringing a positive future for the earth as well as life in the heavens. Okay, so let's go back to the keys. Let's go to key 117, verse 12. Understand the Shema as the right vibration of truth, for it is the vibration behind all other vibrations. When you hear it, understand that it is preparing you for the Father's voice, which is the active fulfillment of the Shema, bringing together all vibratory levels of creation through his power of redemptive healing, scientific wisdom, and spiritual liberation. Let's go to verse 64. The true Israel are the people of light who recognize the higher intelligence and the living higher mind of Yod-He Wod-He. So when the righteous vibrations of the word of God are openly taught, the inner body of Gematrian intelligence, which is one of our overself bodies, seizes the Torah of light through the outer physical shell and takes it in as its own. So back to the 6th superscript, verse 600. The great relationship of our incarnation story is the striving and attachment of the soul to God as the supreme one. It begins with prayer, meditation, music, and spiritual alignment that ultimately leads to a direct connection that can be called an active Merkaba experience with other worlds or with the Christ light body connection. Let's go to verse 603. The spiritual wisdom exists and is receiving by calling upon and using the names of God for the expansion of consciousness, not simply personal, but multi-dimensional. Using the sacred names is not simply a calling out to make a divine connection, but the resonating of the Adamic body to become purified and to gain the ability to vibrate with the higher powers of light. The one who can do this becomes the Trinitized teacher of the way, the word, and the witness. Now let's go back to the keys of Enoch. Let's go to key 301 from the top. The souls who have reached their greatest levels of awareness and attunement with the Father are able to extend themselves through many dimensions of light in service to many realms of species intelligence, desiring to know the meaning and direction of higher life. This extension throughout the various dimensional realms of intelligence is done by Merkaba. Let's go to key 111 from the top. The Lord had made bare the sacred names of Zion for the purification of the body and the cleansing of the soul, and all the ends of the earth shall see the salvation of God. The sacred names that we have been given can take you into conscious awareness with your living biochemical pyramid. Pause. So basically a biochemical pyramid is basically when you are in a meditation pose, okay? You see, I'm not the best drawer here, but you can kind of see where I'm going with it, okay? All right. So this is a biochemical pyramid right there, okay? When you're in a meditation pose, okay? Not the best drawer, but hey, you get it. Again, verse 2. The sacred names that we have been given can take you into conscious awareness with your living biochemical pyramid. Your living biochemical pyramid is the body in a unique position of energy meditation. It is a body in a tri-dimensional energy field, which fuses the relationship of the sensory qualities of the body with the divine qualities of the soul. This is done through divine language. Let's go to verse 13. Along with the sacred names, special breathing techniques of induction are used to penetrate in the very conscious of the names and to maintain a certain vibratory control over the psychochemical process. In a single intake, you absorb life, breath, nourishment, health, vigor, and the necessary conditioning to journey into the eternity with special masters of the Father. The breathing passes through levels of sound and color, representing light energy at different levels of excitation, whereby the participant experiences the flame growing brighter and brighter until he notices outlines of beings of light moving back and forth. Verse 16. The warmth and radiant tongues of flame unfold the garment of the Father into us and become the efflorescence of his love. The light grows until the flame within knows no fear, but feels the excitement of his divine love. The sacred names also create the vehicle of light, which allows us to travel through the vibrations of the mind so that we can enter into the conscious minds of those who have fallen asleep in the world between this world and the higher throne worlds of the divine mind. Through the sacred names, fuse into the protective power of the Ein Sof, which is the light on high, we can even enter into the secrets of the underworld in the chambers of the waters underneath the pyramid. There, we can bear witness to those who have failed their assignments, and so they are caught within the vibratory grids of the earth, within the pyramidal grids going beneath the earth. So let's go back to the 6 superscripts. It's going to be the 5th aspect of awakening to the Logos. The 5th aspect of awakening to the Logos is to seek to experience the living God through divine intention and extension, understanding that a higher experience can occur for us even while in the material strata of soul chaos. We are to knock on the door and say, let me participate. I can also help others. So number 5 is divine intention and divine extension. All right, hopefully y'all can see that. Okay, it's not gonna be a 2.0 like last time, because last time y'all weren't able to see the bottom. So now I made sure everything's in frame. Okay, so divine intention and divine extension. Let's go down to verse 6:11. There will be opposition to your movement into the higher light, as detailed in the dark night of the soul. Sadly, for those who fail to maintain the higher path, there are equally negative influences who work to block your positive movement, pushing you back into a closed loop configuration. Now let's go to, or actually I should say we're going to go back. Okay, we're going to go back to the 10th light picture superscript. Thou shalt be the covenants. Let's go to 175. It is important to note we reside in a fallen local region that is infested with lower thought forms. Nevertheless, we can work to change our thoughts to align with the lords of light. Yes, the thought forms of darkness contend against the thought forms of light. The forces of darkness prefer to manifest half-truths designed to entrap the body and soul, while the forces of light use wisdom and love along with sacred names. There go that sacred names again, and prayer/meditation to transform our reality. Now let's go to the 7th light picture superscript. Let's go to 276. Unfortunately, most souls do not seek to reach out and ask to receive the higher emanations into their lives. Their consciousness instead is trapped into the realms of the local hierarchies and archons who continue to cause more limitations and confusion rather than introduce the higher truths. Additionally, the archons or local instructors desire not to assist and in many cases even hinder the soul from growing and graduating from the first shell layer to the 5th, 6th, and 7th realms. So let's go back to the 6th superscript. Back to 612. Let us therefore never feel cut off from the one from whom all life substance extends. Yes, we are to generate feelings and true compassion for one another, but we are to never cease our personal outreach to the divine that each must make in traveling the higher path of life. Hence, Jesus' focus on the greatest 2 commandments. Therefore, no matter what our circumstances of life are, we should first and foremost positively seek the love of the living Godhead and use the powerful divine sparks from his source for the upliftment of humanity at all times. All right, so let's go back to the 10th superscript. Fortunately, the thought forms of light can always be received by those minds who seek the higher light and are open to a specific signal processing from the light powers to help us work towards collective oneness. Then we receive the coupling of higher information that imprints a higher processing within the energy circuits of the human mind and body. So fortunately, regardless of where we are now, thought forms of positive instruction aligned with the higher light are available to prevent the destructive thoughts from influencing and destroying our species. All cells, all DNA, atomic, subatomic, and natural forces are dynamic energies. All elements within our system need to seek to align back to the higher light. How can we achieve this? In accordance with the holarchy/hierarchies, their councils of light, and with the logos, the higher divine thought, universal pictures/images are created to upgrade each God level growth, transforming and expanding us beyond the local conscious boundaries. Thus, the logos, the higher divine thought field, helps to establish the supportive branches that can reach out and connect with the roots of consciousness, activating the energies of similitude connection within each of us. Let's skip forward to 191. Moreover, the higher divine thought field, the logos, creates reciprocal balances between the finite and the infinite, whereby the thought forms of one program in a conscious time zone align and reconnect with the components of another. Here, our structural patterns become linked for the creation and recreation of higher life. The higher divine thought field, the logos, also integrates with all higher light-based holarchical/hierarchical programs to evolve the many spheres into higher harmonics. In fact, the holarchy/hierarchies of higher light are actively working together with the heavenly angelic ultra-terrestrial orders to overthrow the lower hierarchies that work against the cosmic law, the cosmic knowledge, and cosmic word, which is the logos, the higher divine thought field. Now let's go back to the 6 light picture superscripts. This is going to be the cherry on top here. To the verse 6:38. Thus, the 6 light picture superscript helps us to understand the words of John 1:1. In the beginning was the Word. In the beginning was the logos. In the beginning was the higher divine thoughts. For the Word governs each pattern of light information to provide the divine codes of higher light for this and other dimensions. All right. Whoop, there it is. So let's just recap real quick. So we had the first aspect to the logos, which is divine fellowship, right? We've got to get out of that singular mindset, thinking that we just a single individual. Okay, we got whole light beings in our midst. Second, negative thinking. We got to get out of that negative thinking. We got to triumph over those negative thoughts, right? That egoistic thoughts. 3, now is the time. You see what's going on right now, right? Crazy stuff is going on right now. So now it's the time to get in alignment. Divine names and the sacred expressions. All right, using those divine names, expressing those divine attributes, right? Like love, because love is what? Love is the substance of eternal life. Not the carnal love, but the higher love. Okay? So we're expressing those divine names or attributes. And last, the 5th one, divine intention and extension. Okay? Putting away self-will and going towards divine will. Okay, we're not focused on trying to get this car, trying to get this Porsche, or we're trying to get this this Tesla. Nah, right? We're not going to do it and say, hey, we're here to build. We're here to build a kingdom. So that's going to be it for this lesson. If you were edified, if you learned something new, if you got something out of it, got something out the pantry closet, got you a snack, had you something to nibble on, had you some dinner, okay, and it was bussin', all right, that's gonna be it. I say shalom and stay strong.